now, so we should be recording. Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone to the first of our 2021 briefings on various topics pertinent to Friendship Place, to speaking about our different programs and activities. We're so excited to be talking about the Welcome Center as our first topic of the year. Just by way of a hint, our intention is during the month of February to talk about advocacy in one of these and our racial equity work in another one of these. So we don't have dates yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we have those on the calendar. These are always very exciting opportunities to tell people about the work we're engaged in and the activities we're engaging in, and really just to help us just share the good news of the work we're doing. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody and then unmute as we need to. People will be able to unmute themselves if they have questions. But right now I'm going to unmute Jean-Michel, and I'm asking you to unmute. Jean-Michel, if you can unmute yourself, and I'm going to pin you as the number one on the screen here, and you look unmuted now. So Jean-Michel, I will toss to you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being online with us for this first webinar of the year, and we're looking forward to having you for many more of these presentations on our services and our models. I want to thank you. I know there are a lot of donors on the call, so thank you for your support. We appreciate it, especially at a time when during the pandemic, of course, there is a growing need out there for our services. So we appreciate your help very much. I would like to wish you a happy new year. And I would like to thank Chris for hosting and Sean for presenting. Over to you, Sean.
Sean, I'm gonna move the pin. And Sean, if you unmute yourself, and then you can start speaking whenever you are ready.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
All right. Well, I guess it's a good afternoon since it's after 12 o'clock, but welcome. My name is Sean Reed. I'm the Chief Community Solutions Officer at Friendship Place. And so my role within the organization is that I work with 3 of our program divisions, those of AIM Hire, our workforce development program that serves the entire DC metro region, our Veterans First programming, which serves more than 600 veteran households per year across the DC metro region through rapid rehousing initiatives. And then also our Welcome Center, which is where I am today. This has been our historical arm of our organization that has been in existence since 1993, when we opened the Welcome Center to serve those experiencing homelessness within the District of Columbia and Upper Northwest. And so I work with all of the program directors of those 3 divisions in the work that we do. And what's unique about my title of Community Solutions is that each of these programs really does focus on community aspects of homelessness, the importance of employment, the importance of street outreach work and engaging people in the community. And for our veterans programming, it also fits into the goal by the United States Interagency Council to end homelessness among veterans across all communities in the United States. And so for us as an organization, like I said, we serve more than 600 households per year through that program, and we are actively engaged with all of the various counties and continuums of care on their goals to end homelessness among veterans there. So that's the idea of community solutions at Friendship Place, and it's been an honor to serve in this role for the last year and a half with our executive team and in supporting our programs. But today we're here to kind of learn a little bit more about our Welcome Center. And many of you have probably seen the video that we did sometime early December or so that gave a tour through the renovation process of our Welcome Center. You're going to see some new things today if you had tuned in on that video. There's a lot more that has been accomplished. And I'll give that tour in a little bit, but I do want to just showcase a little bit about what we have been doing at the Welcome Center over the last 10 months throughout the COVID pandemic. And then also share a little bit about what we see kind of in the coming weeks and months ahead as we now start to kind of finish out this, I'll say, very unfortunate year of being in this pandemic. But we have been able to continue to serve and serve with vigor those individuals who have been experiencing homelessness. So like I said, the Welcome Center, we opened in 1993, and it was the first expression of our organization, and it's that little blue house on Wisconsin Avenue, right across the street from what appears to be a growing steak and egg establishment. And so the Welcome Center, back in the days of the 90s and in the early 2000s, was really a place for individuals to come in, to meet with staff, to work towards finding solutions to challenges of experiencing homelessness. And over the last 10 years, we've also started to look more and more at how do we help address housing security for households that may be at risk of losing their housing. And so the Welcome Center now, when we're not in a pandemic, is open 3 days a week, generally Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And on Mondays, we do host a medical clinic with Unity Healthcare, which is the district's expression of what's known as healthcare for the homeless, that does provide medical professionals that do go out into street outreach, working with unsheltered individuals, but also partners with a variety of other organizations like Friendship Place to offer on-site clinics during the week. And so we do host one of those clinics on Monday afternoons when we are in a normal operation. We also open and offer a mental wellness clinic on Thursday afternoons, where we directly contract with a psychiatrist licensed in the District of Columbia to provide and offer no-cost care to clients who wish to engage with mental health and mental wellness care. It's not an overly robust service, but it is a way that it provides an introduction to mental health care in a community setting. There are a lot of the services now that many of our clients do have to access they're through core service agencies, other organizations that focus on behavioral health care. But it works to really move away from the kind of centralized institutional-based focus, which was a past practice during the 50s, 60s, and in the 70s until the point of deinstitutionalization. And so really focusing on providing those services in the community and close to home. And so that is what we've adopted and have been doing at Friendship Place for the last 15 plus years through that mental wellness clinic. During this pandemic, we have continued to work with our psychiatrists and to establish some remote and phone therapy settings to be able to support our individuals who may need a review of their medication or medication support. And then we also, we have been working with our Unity Healthcare partners, although we're not offering the clinic on site during these days. We have been working very frequently with them, ensuring that individuals who would usually come here that need an evaluation on their medication or to get refills, that we're making sure that we are connecting the dots to ensure that they have what they need during this time. So the Welcome Center, on those 3 days, we do host generally about 40 or so individuals that come through between the morning and afternoon. Pre-pandemic time, we were able to offer some breakfast items, and then during the afternoon, we had lunch available for our guests to have on site or to take with them. But much of the time was just spent on being that supportive organization and working to find the solutions to whatever it is that an individual or a household may have, whether that is working to get out of homelessness, working to secure their housing. Maybe they needed to access care from a variety of other providers in the city. Maybe they needed a photo ID. Maybe they needed to replace a birth certificate or a social security card. And so these are the types of things that we would work on here at the Welcome Center. We also offer laundry services and restrooms available, which is laundry and access to bathrooms are a big challenge when experiencing homelessness. Where are you going to keep your clothes clean? Where are you going to be able to use the restroom facilities? And so as part of the tour today, I'll be able to show you what we have done to advance and enhance those services here at the Welcome Center. For us, it's a front door, no questions asked. Come in, meet with us, If you don't want to provide your name to start, that's okay. It's meeting people where they are and working to build a rapport, a relationship with the guests that come into the Welcome Center. On an annual basis, we see more than 1,100 unique people that come through our doors. This past year, as we finished at the end of September, even with the pandemic, when we moved a lot of our services to phone and video based, we were still able to do about 80 to 85% of our normal operations of our Welcome Center, but just in a remote setting. We couldn't do laundry, we couldn't do the food distribution, but we could do a lot of those personal engagements and troubleshooting and finding those solutions for folks. We ended up serving I believe over 800 people, even in the midst of not having our doors open on the regular basis that we had on a normal schedule. So there's an incredible team of dedicated staff that work out of the Welcome Center under the leadership of Maisha Pinkard, who's our division director, who has been with the Welcome Center division for 8 years and has just a tremendous relationships with many of our guests, and then has brought in so many other staff dedicated to the work of street outreach work and continuing to support our permanent supportive housing residents that we serve through some various contracts, street outreach, youth and young adult services as well. And so this team has been itching to get back into the center, which we were able to reopen in the middle of December. And so currently we are operating the Welcome Center twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, between the hours of 9 a.m. and noon. And then we take a 1-hour break in order to clean the whole facility and to give our staff a break. And then we reopen at 1 o'clock and then remain open until 3 in the afternoon. And during that time, we are able to schedule individuals that they can do their laundry. We're doing a lot of distribution of basic needs. Right now, we're distributing a lot of items that were received by Friendship Place through the Winter Warmth Initiative in December. We're also distributing mail. We're also distributing takeaway food items, which these have been tremendous resources given by so many donors over these last several months. And so we're able to provide food once again to our guests to take with them, which is incredibly helpful. And so we do operate with a little bit of a different schedule these days and a different operation model. We are no longer able to have the doors readily open like we would pre-pandemic. So what we have done with the reopening of the Welcome Center is that we have 3 staff that are working on the main floor of the center and engaging with our visitors and guests to the building. We also have 1 staff, typically one of our management staff, that is upstairs in their office and doing regular check-ins and lending an extra hand if necessary. At this time, we are only allowing up to 3 people maximum, 3 guests at a time into the center. One of those individuals would be there doing the laundry. And so if someone is doing laundry, we ask that they remain in the space where the laundry facilities are to keep a mask on while they are on site. They are the one individual that are able to stay beyond a 15-minute limit. And the reason why we are using a 15-minute limit is based upon DC Department of Health and CDC recommendation for close contacts. And so 15 minutes of close contact is what they consider in the event that there was an individual who tested positive, that is a way that we can manage that time to hopefully reduce the likelihood of any transmission if someone was positive with the virus. Those other 2 individuals that are allowed into the center at a time, we can have an individual that comes in and meets with one of our staff to work on more targeted and enhanced services, whether that is doing a housing assessment, getting an ID replacement document, working on a referral. And so those meetings are done with social distancing, with masks on. We also have one of those plexiglass barriers in between. And so that's a 15-minute time frame that we also encourage with that. And then we are allowing individuals, if they need to use the restroom, we are providing access on a one person at a time to be able to come in and use the bathroom. For all of our mail distribution and all of our basic needs items, we have a staff that is monitoring access to the building. They are doing health questionnaires as well as temperature screening. And they're also finding out what it is that people are needing while they are visiting on site. And so if we're able to collect those items and then to distribute them, we don't need to then have more and more people accessing inside the building. But this is what we've been able to do, and we've been operating with over the last, this is our second week under that model. We unfortunately did have to close briefly because of a concern of COVID. And so we closed the center down right around the Christmas and New Year's holidays to do robust cleaning on site and to make sure that there was no increased risk during the time, but we have reopened and we expect to remain open with these safeguards and precautions in place. We also have just a lot of cleaning technology here as well. We have a couple of air purifiers that also contain UV sanitizers within the air circulators. In between shifts and at the end of shifts, we have specific UV treatment lamps that we are able to put in the spaces as staff leave the area. We also have sanitizing misters, and you name it. We have just about everything here to ensure that our staff and our guests, as they are on site, that we are working to minimize the risk of COVID here at the Welcome Center.
Thank you so much, Sean. Do you want to, now for everyone on the call, we're going to experiment with doing a bit of a walking tour here. We'll see how this works out. Sean is actually logged in 2 different devices to see if he can walk us around and maybe show us a little bit about what the physical space looks like. So Sean, if you want to try this, we can see how it works. And if not,
just
we'll describe it.
give me 1 second. I'm going to go off of this account and go onto the other one here.
Okay. In the meanwhile, while you're doing that, there were a couple of questions posed to me in the chat here. Sean, they're probably both for you, so maybe I will wait unless Jean-Michel, you want to jump in and answer a question about what we're looking in the way of offering COVID tests or vaccines to some of our participants. So Jean-Michel, if you want to talk a little bit about that, and if not, Sean then might be able to pick up and answer that.
Yes, we are in touch with the city, and as soon as the city is able to provide testing sites within the providers network and include us, we'll be working on that. We also have had questions for staff because we are essential staff regarding the willingness of the city to include the staff. So we're working on this. At this stage, though, as Sean mentioned, we are being extremely cautious, and the new mode of operation that Sean described was an adjustment from the first model we had when we first reopened. That is even safer with only 3 people on site and this 15-minute cap. So you understand, when we saw that we had one of the staff members test positive, we decided to close, retool, and then open again, which is what you have to do to be responsible, obviously, during COVID. And in other spaces, temperature is taken at the door, like at the Brooks. So again, we're doing our very best and following a guidance from the city to the letter. We've been in complete compliance with city requirements and guidelines since the beginning. The city is providing, we have to say, excellent leadership at that level. So we feel that working within the parameter they give us is a safe place to operate. We'll be sharing news on the vaccine and testing as it comes out.
Well, thank you.
I will, if I can you hear me?
Please,
We
yes.
can.
Okay, just to kind of piggyback from that, we
the district's priorities, especially this week, has focused on individuals 65 and older. And so we have also been working across, I know here at the Welcome Center, but also in our other permanent supportive housing programs, of ensuring that our staff are notifying our clients that they may be eligible to go and start seeking a scheduling for a vaccination. Which DC is doing this through a portal registration. So you do have to go online and register, and it determines if you meet the criteria for vaccination. So that has been something that we started the end of last week when we got the notice from the mayor's office and Department of Health that we want to make sure that our clients, because many of our clients might not have access to that information, and so it needs to come through us to inform, because they may not be connected to the internet or social media platforms to know that that is available to them.
Is staff helping them with it? Because it can be frustrating just in trying to find a site or find a time.
Yep.
I found that I had to log off and then log back on. I mean, I wouldn't assume that even if we hand them a computer, that people are going to be able to navigate it on their own.
Exactly. And we also know that there are, our clients may not have access to a computer on the regular as well. And so one of the things that we wanted to start with was just informing our clients who would be in that criteria that they would be eligible, but also knowing that, people are at different places and how they feel about vaccination. And so the responsibility that we have felt in the programs that I oversee is, it is our role and responsibility to at least provide information. What the choices of the individual then is for them. And if they need assistance, then we are happy to help with that process.
So as usual, of course, in our field, all services are voluntary. We provide the education. We let people make their own decisions.
Good point. Good point. So Sean, do you want to take us around the renovated or revamped building?
Sure. And you can see I've donned my mask again. We've got some staff working up and in and out of the building right now, going up the stairs. And as I move away from where I was stationed, I'm going to put on the safeguards here that we encourage. So I'm going to try and flip my camera here. Here's hoping. Success? All right.
Yes.
All right. So you can probably see with the laptop where I was standing here. And I think what we'll do eventually is show some before and after pictures once everything is in and we get all the new furniture. I think that will be really good to see. But this is a new part of the Welcome Center that we did put in. We put in a 12-foot kind of standing, but we'll also get some of those higher kind of bar seating. And this is just a place where individuals can have one. We had a lack of table space. We just had one round table available in here. And so when we were trying to imagine what could we do with the space, this was one of those things that we had thought of. And so this is a 12-foot counter with multiple electrical outlets. We will eventually kind of right here where this big white box is, that's one of those air purifiers that we have running right now. We'll eventually put in a multi-phone charging station, which is really important, that people have the ability to charge their devices for communication. But this also creates a space that we may be able to develop some unique programming in the future, such as pop-up computer labs, being able to help with some of those items. People could come in here. We've also enhanced our Wi-Fi on site during the pandemic. And so this space will be able to be used. We should be able to fit roughly about 5 or so people in this space. We haven't installed them yet, but we're going to be putting coat hooks and bag hooks underneath. But then people will also be able to store their belongings on the second shelf above. And so this was one thing when we envisioned what is helpful now and what could we see as being really key in the future. This might also be a space that our Aim Higher program is able to come in and do some specific work as well in the future. So I'm just going to turn here to our front door. we upgraded our doors here at the Welcome Center. And so one of the things that we wanted to do, because we have so much foot traffic coming in and out, was we wanted to upgrade the hardware and also to ensure that it's weatherproofed, because the door was getting used so much that it was starting to kind of fail around the edges. And so we put in this door with, you can see the nice window here. We are just awaiting a set of some blinds that will go in, and we'll be replacing all of the window blinds throughout the center to make it brighter, to let in more natural light. And what we'll do then is we'll have that that blind here in the window that will be, you'll be able to see it straight out there during our open hours, and then it will allow for privacy in the building when we are not open. We'll also be able to secure the door much more easily. This is a panic bar, and so we'll be able to leave it in an unlocked position and then easily lock it when we are done. So we did this as well as with our side door over here. Same door, same concept. On the outside of the building, we will also be putting in an awning to protect that door, since it does open straight out. We want to be able to protect it from the elements. We are just awaiting on that to come in and be installed. Our case management office here, this is where individuals will come in and they'll meet with our staff to work on solving some of the barriers and finding solutions to their experiences with homelessness or housing instability. As you can see with our modification, we have these are scattered throughout the building. These are the social distance reminders, safe spacing. We've also made a very focused effort during this time to upgrade all of our signage, all of our documents, to ensure that they are bilingual in English and Spanish, as we have seen a considerable increase of Spanish speaking visitors coming to our services. And so this was also a great time for us to update all of our signage and documentation. So in here, we just have one staff. Usually we have two when we're under normal operations. Here's that space with the protective plexiglass. And we have another air sanitizer in here. And so what we've been doing during the pandemic is that we are preparing everything for our guests. If they want a cup of coffee, we have a Keurig that we're able to kind of do a single cup, put a lid on it, give them whatever it is that they might want, sugar or sweetener or creamer, cups of noodles, just a lot of easy to take away food items. We've also had a wonderful partnership with St. Columba's Episcopal Church here, that they have been helping to provide some bagged meals and bagged lunches as we've reopened through their water ministry, which has been greatly needed and greatly appreciated by our team to be able to offer that. So this is, we did the new doors, we did new painting across, we put in a couple of new pieces of furniture at this time. In addition, we put in sliding glass here in the center to be as a protector during this time, but also is something that it was just an open it was an open window before, and so this just also kind of ties in everything throughout the rest of the building. We did the same thing with the front desk area here where we put in the sliding glass. We will eventually put in some new countertop here as well. And we also enclose this space to allow just for the ability for whenever a volunteer is here and they are working on site and supporting the operations of the Welcome Center, that they have this space closed off as well. And then through that second door behind this one is our doctor's office, which is what we use during the medical clinic time. We also upgraded all of our lighting throughout the entire building, the basement, this floor, and also the top, to make it a lot brighter in here. And then one of the big things that we did do here on the main level of the center was that in that case management office, we were providing services with 2 staff and also had a volunteer who was distributing mail and other basic needs items. And it was often very crowded. And so one of the things that we felt that we should do is to carve out space for a mail room. And so we enclose off this one part of the center, and have put in this mail room that has a pass-through window. And so once we do reopen and it's safe for our volunteers to come back on site, we have a mail room here that's also going to be much more accessible and able to kind of move things around. So we have these mail sorting pieces of furniture that we've got in. One here, there's another one here. We are still kind of moving things around, just since we're not in the building every day as we usually are. We're having to move bits and pieces a little bit at a time. And so this mailroom is here, and I'm going to take you down the hallway here to our kitchen area. And so what we decided to do was to put in a second laundry center. We have one down in the basement. And so we put in these laundry facilities here, and some extra storage up top, so that we have that we're able to double those laundry services. Kind of a couple of other items that we upgraded inside the center. Like I said, we repainted all of the walls throughout the building. We repainted the stairwell and railing, and have put in a non-slip or kind of a grippy paint on those stairs and in the side security entrance and exit. We've also installed touchless soap dispensers. And of course, during COVID now, we also have multiple hand sanitizer stations spread throughout the building, and have just made sure that anything and everything that we could think of that's important during this time that we have installed and in place. And so knowing that I might lose connection if I walk down to the basement, Chris, I do have photos on my laptop. If I don't know if there's a way to allow me to share via that, I can show those photos then, if that is helpful or if people would like to see that.
That might be the best way. I think I can make you, let's see, I might be able to make you host temporarily. That would allow you to then show that on your laptop. Or let's see.
So I'm gonna switch over again.
Okay.
All right.
In the meanwhile, let me see about posing a quick question for maybe Jean-Michel might be able to answer while Sean is making that switch. What sort of preparations, Jean-Michel, are we going to be making for the coming wave, the expected upcoming wave of evictions?
Well, we are preparing. So we are developing 2 tracks. As most of you on the call know, we've received a $2.5 million grant from the Bessos Family Day One Fund that is to be spent for families experiencing homelessness and can include services like employment and job placement. So we are in the process already of spending down some of the money. We are going to hire an additional job placement specialist at Aim Higher. We are also putting Emily Carpenter, who had to leave her position as director of the Veterans Division for family reasons. She will return as a part-time manager of this grant and help us develop the programming that we need. So we will be targeting the additional families we're expecting to see at the Brooks due to evictions. And then families will be able to come to us much the way they were, for those of you who knew the program, when we ran direct housing with private funds out of the Welcome Center. So new ideas, new flexible ways to help these families who are going to be destabilized. And under the Bessos grant, they will have to be already homeless, meaning homeless in shelter or doubled up. There will be no prevention. We will, as usual, add the prevention that we're able to do, because we do believe that keeping families in place before they get evicted is key to avoid trauma and the downward spiral that activates. The second track is going to be out of our own pocket, out of our own funds. In this fiscal year's budget, we've identified, to start with, $150,000 for direct cash assistance for individuals who are going to come our way. So this cash assistance, as usual, will include rental assistance, food, medications, storage units, unit fees. And so again, one track for families, which is very nicely funded, one track for individuals, where we're drawing out of our own budget for this year, and raising funds from the community to respond to the crisis.
Very good. And also, building on, what Jean-Michel was saying, you will start to hear more about our 30th anniversary campaign, which we're calling the Hope Campaign. More to come on that. Big reveal coming up, during February and March. But that sort of emergency funds will be part of that campaign that we're pushing here. Sean, if you feel like you are ready, I can see about making you the host. Let's see. Excuse me. So Sean, you are the host now, so I think you should be able to go start sharing your screen. Yep, there we go.
You got it. So these are the after images of the construction that was done in our basement. So prior to the construction, and Lynn, I know that some folks helped us to put in a brand new hot water tank, and that is really helpful, especially with adding extra laundry and also some additional bathrooms. And so what we did was that we did a lot of assessment work to determine, could we safely and adequately offer showers in the basement of our center? And when we came back around, we decided that we would not be able to have equal access, because we weren't able to make the accessibility down the stairs ADA compliant, unless we tore out the entire staircase of the center, which was going to be extremely costly. And so we also looked to see what was the what level of accessibility for showers were there across the district. And so we made that decision that we would not put in a new shower, and that we would just increase the number of bathrooms that we have available to individuals. So that's another reason why we put the second laundry center on our main level, so that it is accessible for ADA purposes. And then we have an ADA accessible bathroom on this main level, and then the two in the basement. And so this is just an image of one of the bathrooms. Let me see if it will move through the pictures here. Sorry, one second. There we go. And so this is, we put in new toilets, new vanities. We put in dispensers as well into these bathrooms. This is the first one right when you come down the stairs. This is that center area. So we put in new tiling. We put in a new utility sink as well. We also took the time to work with a contractor to do water sealing, and to put in some new pump systems into the basement. As we know, Washington likes to take on water. And so we wanted to make sure that we were safeguarding the Welcome Center, as well as protecting a lot of this new development that we had put into the downstairs. So new doors, new tiling, new paint, new walls. Here's that second bathroom, fairly roomy. It looks small and narrow in here, just the way that the picture was taken. There's also heaters in there, so it's not cold like you would find in a basement. The group that we had did a really nice job with working with us and understanding what the needs would be for our guests coming into the center. And then we have this stackable, the second laundry. This was our original one that we had downstairs. This space that this is in used to be where the bathroom was, and that bathroom was extremely small in the basement. And so we just asked, hey, flip it so that it's easy to vent out the dryers. And so it worked out extremely well to move this here. So we do have 2 laundry facilities at this time. Currently, we are only using the one just with those safeguards for number of people in the building. But it will be good once we are able to get back to re-engaging our usual services here to have that double accessibility for laundry services.
Big improvement.
It is a big upgrade and change. I'm going to seize back control. Sean, did you have any other pictures that you wanted to?
No, that's it.
Joe?
That's it. I think what we'll do then is once we get the awning in and we get the furniture in, we might do a really nice photo shoot. I know that the company that we have contracted to do this work they have been really excited about the work here and kind of essentially partnering with us in what we're trying to do here. And so they're gonna end up sending in a photo crew once all the work is done to showcase the work that they've been doing here and probably highlight what we are doing. So we'll do some photos with the before and after, kind of in the same way that was done when there was the renovation back in 2013.
That's fantastic. No, wonderful. Thank you for doing that, and thank you to the contractors for doing that. Kathy, who does our foundation's work, is on the call here, and I know she and I are happy to be able to share those pictures with funders, that before and after. I think that's going to be critical.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of questions in the chat, and I encourage people to continue to put questions in the chat. One of them was asking about where people, if churches want to provide meals and such to folks at the Welcome Center. The direction, Sean, you put in the chat is to either reach out to Antoine Gillis at the Welcome Center or Chris Kennedy on the development team. And you can reach either of them through Sean or myself, or you should be able to find their emails. Chris's is pretty much out there in the world, so many people know that. Another question was about the eviction and the Bezos grant. And the answer is that's really their interest. Their interest is very much in families. And so that's why we're directing that way. They're very families focused and also very focused on that critical moment in a family's vulnerability where it is where people are experiencing the risk of homelessness. So that's the niche that they've carved out, and that's there's so many different places where you can touch a life, and that's the area, that's the point where they're reaching out to. Again,
if I can add, that decision probably came from the fact that most of the literature out there says that the funds should go to families who are already homeless, and that you get more for your investment than you would on the prevention side, because many people self-resolve. In other words, when they get their eviction notice during that period of 1, 2, 3 months, they manage to find a solution for themselves. So the literature out there in the field does say that prevention is not as good an investment as the other forms of assistance. But at Friendship Place, we do believe that if you can avoid an eviction, you have accomplished a lot. And so we are sharing that, and it's part of our advocacy work when we work at the national level. We would like more people to take a look at prevention. And we're getting some traction, but it's an excellent question, Barbara. Thank you.
good
Thank
point.
you.
Other questions folks may have, and please either feel free to unmute yourself or post it in the chat. Sean, I guess one question that had come up earlier is, what are we seeing in the way of changes in the clientele who are coming to the Welcome Center? Are you seeing some of the same folks who had been coming pre-COVID? Are they returning, or is it new folks coming? What has that been looking like?
So there's a lot of familiar faces that are coming through, which is good, because to be quite honest, we lost contact with quite a few people because of not seeing them on the regular day, and not everyone has a phone or connectivity to communications. So it has been good to see a lot of familiar faces coming back. And I did forget to mention that we didn't just only open the doors in December. We were doing services, a little bit more in-person services, starting back in, I want to say, mid-May, in order to ensure that people could get the first wave of stimulus checks. And so we were doing mail distribution twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. And we did that twice a week up until early October. And then we started to move towards being open and doing mail distribution and light touch services 5 days a week for 2 hours per day in order for people to register to vote, but then to also pick up their ballots. And so I do know that we were able to support more than 100, maybe 125 people with registering to vote and to be able to help them get their absentee ballots to then drop off. And that was a priority that we worked with our partners with the National Alliance to End Homelessness, and they had a campaign going. We joined in that campaign, as well as several other providers like us, to ensure that people had the ability to cast a ballot this year. So with us reopening, it's just, we reopened the center for people to come inside these doors, even though we were doing a lot of in-person services. We've seen familiar faces here. We have seen new faces who are unsheltered, who are engaged in our outreach. So part of that is a number of different things. Some people have left the congregate shelters out of concern of COVID. There's also been a displacement of a couple of different encampments. One of them was down in Franklin Park in City Center, as that was going under renovation and will be closed, I believe, for the next 2 or so years. So we did see a number of people that kind of moved towards the Georgetown area and up Wisconsin Avenue. So we've seen newer people who are unsheltered and have been regularly engaging with those individuals through our partnership with the Georgetown Business Improvement District and throughout our historical outreach territory, and really working and prioritizing health and safety, as we are working with the district to ensure that we're always asking people about their wellness. We have a direct line if someone is not feeling well, to be able to get them to a quarantine site specifically set up for unsheltered individuals. But then what it's also done is activated other services in the city for medically vulnerable or individuals over the age of 65 experiencing homelessness, to help get them into a hotel room setting, and then a fast track to get them into a place of housing. And so our outreach teams have really been working hard to help identify people to access those and then to move to a place of housing.
Thank you.
Sean, could I ask a question?
Please do.
Along the wall where you've installed that counter for laptops, there used to be chairs, and in pre-COVID days, people would come in and sort of hang out. And it suggests to me that that is no longer going to be possible when the COVID crisis is over, that people coming to the Welcome Center will have to have a mission, either to see a case manager, to pick up mail, to do laundry, to use a bathroom, but not to just sort of hang around and talk to each other. Is that in fact the plan?
So when we are post-COVID, or we're at a place where there's a greater degree of safety to increase gathering, yes, it does remove some of the footprint of seating. However, we've also come to learn we also evaluate the nature of services that we have been providing, kind of looking back at when people come, how long do they typically stay? I will also say that we have a vision for some upgrades outdoors that we hope to do in the near future. And so we were taking that into account as well. We're also just looking to find, we know that there are some individuals that come into the center and there are other individuals that won't. And so can we create a hybrid model of engagement, both indoors and outdoors? So it does change some of that seating. Right along this side of the wall, we maybe had 4 or 5 seats here. And we'll still be able to have those 5 or so seats along this wall. And there's also some other areas that have increased to be able to provide some additional seating. It's just going to look a lot different whenever we start getting the furniture back in. You know, there are a lot of folks that when they do come and visit, they're kind of in and out the door. They like to stand outside. They like to have conversations on the porch. And it's also another way for us. I will say it's another way for us to challenge our staff and to continue to be innovative in the approach of the work, rather than just sitting at a desk inside the center to be up and moving. There's something about physical energy and kinetic energy when you move that really does enhance conversation and relationship. And how can we do more of that as well? So it's going to be different. We're going to be kind of, you know, working through it here. We've already received a lot of really positive feedback from our guests so far as they've seen the changes. They've been excited. They have also, and I think this has been really important for our staff, with all of the uncertainty of coming back to engaging in person, that sense of gratitude that people have a place that has known has been theirs, and that they see the investment that we're doing for our guests. It's not just for French Place, it's for those that we welcome in each and every day. So it's exciting. I mean, I've always referred to the Welcome Center as kind of the mad science lab of the organization. This is where we do a lot of our creative thinking. It has been the incubator for the growth of our organization. And so we're not going to change that. That would be taking away from who we are as an organization. So that's a long answer to your initial question, but I think it all fits into kind of the long vision that we have for the center, and we'll continue to be innovative.
Thanks.
Thank you. One thing I wanted to draw attention to, we've been tasked by the inaugural campaign to create a day of service project. So working with Chris Kennedy, our community engagement manager, we have put together a sign up genius, which is the link I've dropped in the chat there, where people can sign up to have food delivered to our Calvert Street location, where we'll be able to put, and that'll be used to put together a food pantry for the Welcome Center. And perhaps if there's overflow, we have additional needs that we can fill. But what's a great point within that link, and let's see if I can share my screen without making it too difficult here. Share. Let's see. I'm hoping you're now looking at the link here, where it really just lists the various items that we're talked about needing at the Welcome Center. So if people are looking to contribute foodstuffs, you can find it at the link I sent there. You can even sign up at that link to commit to deliver that, but that's not strictly necessary for the purposes of, we're all inside friends here. This is meant to be external facing, and we've actually had what's been interesting. Something like 50 or 60 folks sign up through the National Day of Service link, including people from all over the country. So Chris Kennedy and I are unsure what's going to arrive at Calvert Street. We're asking people not to deliver stuff on the day of service itself, which is Monday, because we're closed as an organization, but rather on Tuesday, or to mail things. So we are expecting that we may start seeing some Amazon packages with cup of noodle soups showing up at Calvert Street sometime in the next week, but it's unclear. But this is a nice opportunity to engage in a national platform and share some of our work and our needs. So I just wanted to make a flag that for folks. We probably have time for one more question if anyone would like to pose one, and then I might throw it to Sean and Jean-Michel to close. Any other closing questions? No? Well, we're coming up on 1 o'clock anyway. So Sean, let me ask maybe you to say a few closing comments, and then Jean-Michel for you to say a few closing comments.
Sure. So I don't think we'll disagree that these have been unprecedented times, not just in the wake of a pandemic, but also where we are situated in the District of Columbia as an organization. To share, Jean-Michel and I had a conversation earlier this week, and by and far, our country is seeing this as a national events that are happening. For us, these are local events. And so we are very mindful of
what the temperature of the district is. And yesterday and most of the day today, we as an organization are activating to ensure that our clients, the more than 37, 33, somewhere in the 3,000 range that we work with on a regular basis, that they are aware, and ensuring that people have access to food, to medication, and just to know what to be mindful of if they do choose to leave their homes. We are strongly encouraging people that if they do have a place to stay there. As a precaution, we as well, even though we have reopened our Welcome Center, we have decided to close for next week in order to just really ensure and encourage people to stay where they are and to reduce any kind of unnecessary travel. We will still continue to do resources, referrals, answer the phone, and to do services in that way. Our outreach teams are going to be extremely busy today and tomorrow as they are notifying and engaging with our unsheltered friends throughout the area that we serve. And so, for us, this is a time where we're prepared to stand in the gap, and we are looking out for those who do not have a safe place. And so just wanted to share that just in case, if you're saying, go visit the Welcome Center, we will be closed next week on the 19th and the 21st, just out of the advisement of some of our system partners and government officials to say, try to just stay where you're at and don't do any unnecessary travel. But, I think the phrase for such a time as this, we're here, we're ready, and we have continued to serve. And so it's been exciting for me to see our organization strengthen in our resolve for the work that we're doing, and to see the deep commitment that all of our workforce are nearly, I think it takes close to 170 when you include our contractors and other partners to do what we do on a weekly basis. And just to see how we've come together to continue to serve those who do not have a home yet, and those who are in need of stabilizing in their homes.
Thank you. And so, Jean-Michel, you have the floor to close.
Yes, well, thank you, Sean, for an excellent presentation. I think everybody on the call has a much better understanding of what it's like to serve during the COVID epidemic, but also what the goals were for this renovation, and the center looks great. Thank you also for your leadership throughout the community solutions cluster, because of course veterans have to be served, people on the street, and people have to find jobs, and we're managing to do all this through your team, which I think is very inspiring. My thanks also to the staff who are showing up every day to serve all the folks who need us. And when you talk about the gratitude that is expressed from our consumers, I think it says it all, that we're there for them, and they know that. And that is such an important thing, especially at this time. And then I want to thank all of you on the call. We peaked at 46 participants, which is really amazing for a webinar like this. We appreciate all the regulars on the webinars. As I mentioned earlier, there will be quite a few this year coming up every 3 weeks or so. And as you can tell also, as we prepare to unfold our new programming in response to the COVID crisis, you can expect changes at Friendship Place and new solutions to be developed. So check out the website, attend the webinars, talk to our staff and volunteers if you're not a volunteer, to find out the new things that we're doing, the new solutions that we're developing. Thank you so much for your time today and for your support.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.